The 2024 NBA free agency class was a big one at the time. A lot of notable names switched teams last offseason. Now they played 1 year with their new teams, and I wanted to grade how these contracts are looking 1 year later. There's even a player that is a major contributor on a team in the NBA Finals this season. So some of these deals are a 1 year deal, they could be a 2 year deal, they're a 3 year deal. I'm only going to be talking about players that switched teams last offseason, so we won't mention the Pascal Siakam or like the OG Anunoby re-signings. And I want to grade just how they did this past season and how these contracts look going forward if they are a multi-year deal. Let's get into it. So let's start off with somebody that is going to be a future Hall of Famer one day that just signed a 1 year deal with the San Antonio Spurs, Chris Paul. I'm going to give this signing an A. For 1 year, $10.4 million. First off, there's no such thing as a bad 1 year deal. And second off, you just got one of the best veteran guards in the league who's going to be a future Hall of Famer, like I said, and was a great mentor and contributor for Shea back in 2020, for Devin Booker in 2021 and 2022, and now he was just that type of player and veteran for Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle this season. Chris Paul, who turned 40 years old this season, averaged 8.8 points, 7.4 assists, shot 37.5% from three and 92% from the free throw line, and he played all 82 games. Yeah, the 39-year-old that turned 40 this year played all 82 games, a very impressive feat. And I thought they were going to trade him at the deadline, and it would have been a little bit cooler to see Chris Paul on a team that was playing in the playoffs. I'd like to see him to get a ring before he retires. It does look like he's got at least one more year left in the tank, but I do think for what he did on the court and off the court for San Antonio, I'm giving this signing an A. One of the big free agency switch-ups last offseason was somebody that was a vital role player on two championship teams, one in 2020 with the Lakers and another one in 2023 with the Denver Nuggets, and that is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who is one of the best role players on the market. The Orlando Magic gave him a 3-year deal worth $66 million. It has a player option in the final year, but unfortunately for them, I gotta give this signing a D+. I also really liked the signing at the time. I thought he was a perfect 3-and-D wing to have out there with the young core that they had. Did they need somebody like KCP? No, not necessarily, but they needed him to shoot over 40% from three, or at least be a very productive three-point shooter like he has been in the past. He shot 42% from three with Denver in 2023, 40% from three with Denver in 2024, and then just shot 34% from three for the Magic last year. And KCP is now going to be 32 years old and 33 at the end of the 2026 season. And maybe it helped that he played around LeBron James and Nikola Jokic on those title teams, but he definitely needs to be better in 2026 if this contract is going to look worth it in retrospect, because right now it's not looking really good. And it is a shame because the Magic for once had cap space to get somebody around their young core, and they didn't sign somebody that worked out, at least right now. I mentioned in the beginning of the video that we're going to talk about somebody that is a vital piece on a championship team this year, or at least competing for a championship, and that is Isaiah Hardstein of the OKC Thunder, who signed a 3-year deal worth $87 million with the Thunder last offseason, and it has a team option in the final year for $20.5 million. So this is essentially a 2-year deal. I'm giving this signing an A+. I think it was one of the best signings that you could have made last offseason. Like the Orlando Magic, the OKC Thunder had some cap space to incorporate a player that was going to be a role player around their top three of Shea, Chet, and J-Dub, and they hit this one out of the park. They needed to address the interior defense and the rebounding. That was a big reason why they lost in round number 2 to Dallas last year. And Isaiah Hardstein played 57 games this year, but was hurt to start the year, so he was pretty much healthy from when he debuted to when he finished up this year, and he averaged 11.2 points, 10.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, over a block a night, shot 58% from the field, was a perfect lob threat. He was a great screen setter and running DHOs with this team, and was just a phenomenal rim protector, and having him and Chet out there in the regular season really worked. Sam Presti addressed the needs of defense in the offseason. They traded Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso, big part why they're in the NBA Finals this year, and going out and getting Isaiah Hardstein for basically a 2-year deal was a no-brainer. I don't expect him to be on this team, at least in the last year of the deal, because the Thunder are going to get a little bit more expensive, but this is one of my favorite signings of the offseason, and it's paying dividends right now. Another future Hall of Famer that changed teams last offseason, Klay Thompson, who was originally on the Golden State Warriors for 11 years, and then he signed a 3-year deal worth $50 million with the Dallas Mavericks. It's essentially going to go up every single year, so he's going to be making up 10% of the team's cap space in 2027 when he's a 36-year-old. This year for Dallas, he played 72 games. He averaged 14 points, 3.5 rebounds, and he shot 39% from three on around 8 attempts a night. He did shoot 41% from the field. Klay struggled with his consistency within the three-point arc yet again. He is 35 years old now. He doesn't have many good years left in the league, and I'm sure when he signed with the Mavericks last offseason, he did not expect this team to look this different 1 year later after trading away Luka Doncic. I'm going to give this signing a B-. It's another player that the Dallas Mavericks really didn't need. Now, I get the need for shooting, and they could have definitely added a shooter. I'm not sure if absorbing Klay Thompson on your mid-level exception was the wisest decision, but I do think the signing could be a lot worse. I'm just a little skeptical on how it's going to age out going forward since its contract is going up and up, but for now, it's getting a B-. Another three-point sharpshooter that switched teams last offseason, Buddy Hield. He left the Philadelphia 76ers for the Golden State Warriors, and he signed a 4-year deal worth $37.7 million. I'm going to give this a C+. I don't love the duration of this contract. I do think paying Buddy Hield about $10 million into his age 35 season isn't going to be the best, especially for his defensive deficiencies right now, but Buddy Hield got off to a fantastic start for the Warriors this season. He played all 82 games. He had that massive playoff game in game number 1 against Minnesota when Steph went down, but I think it's fine, and I wouldn't be surprised though if Golden State tried moving Buddy Hield this offseason just because they probably are also skeptical about the duration of this deal. A big switch up last offseason was when DeMar DeRozan got signed and traded from the Chicago Bulls to a mystery team, which ended up being the Sacramento Kings. He basically signed a 3-year, $70 million contract with the Kings that goes up by $1 million every single year till 2027. And I'm going to give this signing for Sacramento a B. DeMar DeRozan, like Klay, is getting up there in age. He's 35 years old right now. He's going to be 36 years old very soon and will be at the start of the 2026 season. Last year, DeRozan played 77 games, was healthy yet again like he's been for most, if not all of his career. He averaged 22 points, 4.5 assists, and 4 rebounds. He shot 47% from the field, 32% from 3 on one of the highest volume 3-point shooting seasons of his career. I know there is a ceiling on DeMar DeRozan being one of your top scorers on your team right now. I don't think it's a great fit in Sacramento. I think they just got the big name and really didn't see how it was going to work with De'Aaron Fox at the time and Domantas Sabonis. I also wouldn't be surprised if DeMar DeRozan was on a different team next year. I still think he has a little bit left in the tank. I'm going to give this signing a B. I think DeRozan is a good player. I think he was productive enough to warrant a B this past season. I don't think he's going to regress in 2026, maybe in 2027, but like I said, I'm not even sure if he's going to be on the Kings by then. So last offseason, the LA Clippers traded away Russell Westbrook to the Utah Jazz, then got waived by the Jazz, signed a 1+1 deal. So it's a 1-year, $3.3 million contract with the Nuggets here in 2025. He does have a player option for 2026. Not sure if he's going to opt out of that deal right now. I do think Russell Westbrook outplayed $3 million, but not a lot of teams have cap space. Will teams that have a little bit of cap space give Russell Westbrook over $3.5 million next year, or does Russ like it in Denver and had a very productive year, probably his best one in quite some time, playing with Nikola Jokic? He ended up playing 28 minutes a night, played 75 games, started 36 of those. He averaged 13 points, 3.2 turnovers a night though, which is not great for the amount of minutes he's playing. 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He shot 45% from the field, 32% from 3, which was better than last year's season with the Clippers. What I love about Russell Westbrook, it could be a random Tuesday night game in January against Charlotte. You have your top couple guys out, and he's going to step up for you no matter the night, no matter the environment of the game. But there's also some games where he can lose you, and we saw that late in the year as well. So there's going to be some good, some bad with Russ. Honestly, though, I'm going to give this signing a B+. Getting somebody of Russell Westbrook's caliber this season for $3 million is a no-brainer. He won the Nuggets a lot of games. Maybe he lost the Nuggets some games as well, but I don't think they regret this signing. Like the OKC Thunder and the Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons had a lot of cap space to use last offseason, and they gave Tobias Harris a 2-year deal worth $52 million as a fully guaranteed contract. I think Tobias Harris was a productive player for the Detroit Pistons this year. I think he was exactly what they needed to build around Cade Cunningham. Veterans that are okay delegating and they don't need to take a ton of shots, but they're also willing to create their own shots when you need to take some of the load off Cade Cunningham. And this is now a 1-year deal. He's going to be off the Detroit Pistons, or at least off this contract a year from now. Maybe they use his contract in a trade as well, but honestly, I think this is a very good deal, so I'm giving it a B. It's a different circumstance than like the DeMar DeRozan B that we talked about earlier. And then there's some other role players that have got signed. I'm going to go rapid fire with these. So the first one is going to be Malik Beasley, who wasn't wanted by the Milwaukee Bucks anymore. He signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with the Detroit Pistons. I'm giving this an A. Malik Beasley could have won 6th Man of the Year this season. He played all 82 games in the regular season. He had his moments in the playoffs. He averaged 16 points and shot 41% from 3 this year for the Pistons, and was exactly what they needed around Cade Cunningham. Like I said before with Tobias Harris, another veteran that is not afraid to shoot the ball, and for $6 million, it's an easy A. The Phoenix Suns kind of came out of nowhere, and they signed Tyus Jones to the veteran minimum. I thought Tyus Jones could have made a lot more money. He probably thought that this team could have made a run in the playoffs, and he could have showcased his skills on the bigger stage. That didn't happen. He still had a fine enough year for the Phoenix Suns, only missed 1 game in the regular season, averaged 10 points, 5 assists, and shot 41% from 3 and 89% from the free throw line. I don't love Tyus Jones' defense, and I think he's better suited right now in the NBA as a really good backup point guard rather than a low-end starting point guard. I'm going to give this signing a B for the dollar amount that they signed him for. Just $2 million. Yeah, he outplayed that contract, but I don't think he really made them that much better this season. When the Milwaukee Bucks let Malik Beasley walk, they signed a player in a similar archetype to fill that role, and they signed Gary Trent Jr. to a one-year veteran minimum of $2 million, and Gary Trent Jr. outplayed this contract in the regular season and most definitely in the playoffs. I'm going to give this signing for the Milwaukee Bucks an A. I think it's what they needed. He shot 41% from 3 in 74 regular season games, but you can't discredit what he did in the playoffs for the Milwaukee Bucks. Dame goes down. He had 37 points in game 3, 33 points in game number 5, and I do think Milwaukee has to re-sign him next year if they're still trying to contend around Giannis Antetokounmpo. I thought it was a risky deal when the Philadelphia 76ers gave Caleb Martin a 4-year deal worth $35 million. He only played half a season in Philadelphia, so for that signing originally, I could give it like a C+ for Philadelphia because he really struggled with his shot as well. But the fact that they were able to flip Caleb Martin for Quentin Grimes at the deadline, who looks like a much better player both in Philadelphia and as a long-term asset in this league, do I have to give the Caleb Martin signing an A? I think so because of the domino effect of the signing. Back-to-back Clippers contracts here because they had cap space this offseason for a player that we're going to get to after I mention these guys, Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn. I think the Derrick Jones Jr. contract worked out a little bit more. I'm going to give this signing an A. He was a great stretch forward for this team that was an elite defender at times this season, coming off a very strong defensive year in 2024 for a team that made it to the NBA Finals in the Dallas Mavericks. He shot 35% from 3 this year. He's an elite lob threat for somebody at 6'5", but he's a crazy athlete and can get up there in the half court and in transition. I love this fit in Los Angeles. And then they also signed Chris Dunn. I'm going to give this signing a B-. Chris Dunn was a great defender this year for the Clippers, which really helped them at times to have him out there with James Harden to help him out on the defensive end of the floor. This just isn't going to be higher because Chris Dunn really struggled with his shot down the stretch for the LA Clippers. He struggled with his shot in the playoffs, basically outside of game number 5 for the LA Clippers. And the reason why they had cap space is because Paul George left them in free agency last offseason. He signed a massive 4-year deal worth $211 million. It was the biggest contract signing last offseason. $49 million in 2025, 35% of the team's total cap space. That's going to go up to $51 million next year, $54 million in 2027, and has a $56.5 million player option in 2028 when he's going to be a 37-year-old. This is a very scary contract. Paul George had one of the worst years of his career. You could probably say it was the worst year of his career in 2025. Was banged up a ton, only played 41 games, averaged 16 points, shot 43% from the field, 35% from 3, and also got to the free throw line 2.5 times a night, the lowest rate since his rookie year back in 2011. I got to get this contract signing an F. I think Philadelphia would like to have this amount of money back before that maxi contract extension kicked in. They had a max slot available, and I think in hindsight, you probably should have sprinkled that $50 million into 3 to 4 different players because we saw how bad some of the Sixers depth can be. Maybe I'm being kind of harsh here, but I don't know if Paul George is ever going to revert back to what he was in Los Angeles going forward for Philadelphia. So that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think of these gradings 1 year later after they signed last offseason. Hit that subscribe button if you were not already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.